Hey everyone, I'm Clayfect, and I'm in a Christmas mood today. And even though it doesn't say much about it in the Journal of the Unseen Creatures, I actually managed to find something that could explain my suddenly Christmas mood. And that is the Holli-Shrooms. I just think these guys look super cute, and I can't wait to sculpt them. Even the pages are very, very interesting if you look at it. I am tempted to open this envelope because there's some mixed spore sample. I'm sure we're going to hear what that's about later. But I'm not going to because thankfully there is a warning. Feel free to pause and look at the pages some more if you want to. But for me, I just can't wait to sculpt all these little guys. So without further ado, let's get started.
He took 100 pounds of clay and then he said, listen, I'm gonna fix this world today because I know what's missing.
Now, I do love Christmas. When December hits, I am like a child. So, of course, we are going to place a little Christmas tree, even though this is apparently holiday mushrooms, Holli-Shrooms, which means that we are going to see a lot of different holidays today. To be more specific, Mr. Barlow mentions 5 different Holli-Shrooms, so of course that is what I plan to make today. Starting with the Holli-Shroom that sprout in the start of the year and ending on the Holli-Shroom that sprout in the end of the year, just to make it a little bit easier. And since I do not plan on making these Holli-Shrooms that big or their motion that extravagant, I can actually skip the amateur wire and just focus on the details of these little fellas. So while I'm shaping out the stem of these little Holli-Shrooms and start building up the first party, why don't we hear what Richard Barlow had to say about the Holli-Shrooms?
Richard Barlow, log 3rd of December 1935. The Holli-Shrooms. This little mushroom-like creature's appearance and manner is completely determined by the season they sprout in, making it some of the more diverse unseen creatures. However, there are some factors about these small fellas that keeps reoccurring, making it clear that no matter the shroom, they are all Holli-Shrooms. I made a list down below with a short description of the Holli-Shrooms I discovered. I will note that it is my belief that there are many more Holli-Shrooms to be discovered, since it all depends on the season and location what kind of Holli-Shroom there are.
The Mystery Journal says that it is vastly different depending on the season what kind of shroom there are. So that is what I'm trying to reflect, starting with the first of the holidays, which is Valentine and the Valentine shroom. Now, even though I did paint eyes for it, I quickly decided to make this little Holli-Shroom with closed eyes, and that was simply to give it a more mild and loving expression and make it stand out from the others. Now, at the top of the stem, so to speak, I did make it a lot thinner and a lot more crooked simply because I think love is a delicate and sort of crooked thing. Take Valentine's Day for example. I do have a love-hate relationship with that day, and that's simply because Mr. Clayfect always remembers that freaking day and does something very, very incredibly sweet, like pick flowers for me or buy me candy or anything thoughtful really. And I always manage to forget the day. I don't know why, but it's simply just impossible for me to remember Valentine's Day. So it is really a love-hate relationship for me. But let's hear what Mr. Barlow has to say about the Valentine's shroom.
The Valentine Shroom. These small guys waddle around in groups of up to 5, gently humming their own melody of love. And while we do not fall in love because of them, the spore side effect does have an impact. It can be an urge to pick flower, chocolate eating, and need to receive and give affection.
Now, I don't want to talk anymore about that day. I just don't. Let's just move on to the sculpture where you see me using Sculpey Ultralight. And that is simply because, of course, I decided that the mushrooms would have to stand on their own, wearing those really big hats. So I needed the top to be as slight as possible to keep the balance. And that decision was not only stupid and proved how stubborn I was, but it was also very, very difficult with this one because I made the mushroom hat so big and extravagant with this trim around it. Though I have to say I am very happy how this little one turned out. So let's move on to the St. Patrick's room. The St. Patrick Day is actually a holiday that I can get behind completely, and I am devastated that we don't have that in Denmark. I made this little guy with a grin that was a little bit too light, eyelids that was a little bit too heavy, and a tongue sticking out. And the reason for that is pretty clear if you listen to what Richard Barlow has to say about the St. Patrick's room.
The St. Patrick's room. This little one is known to waddle more disorganized than the other Holli-shrooms, singing more than the other Holli-shrooms, while not being able to hold any kind of tone like the other Holli-shrooms. Jolly as they are, they can also be rather rambunctious. Spore's side effect can cause festive mood, poor life decisions, and headaches.
Now, I think St. Patrick's Day is pretty much just an Irish tradition. Don't hold me up to it, I have no idea what I'm talking about when I'm talking about holidays. But we are already sort of stealing Halloween here to Denmark, so I think we could make St. Patrick's Day work too. Anyway, with our little guy's expression looking sort of intoxicated enough, I'm start working on the mushroom hat thingy. Making it cute and lumpy before I place a 4-leaf clover on top of the head, embracing the Irish culture, I hope. But while we're transitioning from St. Patrick's Day over to Easter, why don't we hear a little bit more of what Richard Barlow has to say about the Holli-shrooms in general.
Being under a half centimeter tall and only traveling in small groups, you would not think that they would have any big impact on us humans. But that is not the case, because when they spread their spores in order to reproduce, something peculiar happens to us humans. We get in a holiday spirit, and our mood changes depending on the season. My studies show that some people are more immune to the spores than others, though none completely. All Holli-shrooms also sings or hums while they rattle around us. Thankfully, they are singing in such a high frequency that it is imperceptible to the human ear, without any special equipment. But if you do get a Christmas or drinking song stuck in your head, this is why.
So for the Easter's room, I did try to make it look a little more enthusiastic and active because it's spring, and also a little more childlike because, you know, children are hunting for eggs. Well, here in Denmark, it's more like we write letters and try to make people give us chocolate eggs, but it's the same thing. Which is why I think it's very fitting that the mushroom cap is shaped like an egg. But let's hear what Richard Barlow has to say about them.
The Easter's room. A very happy little unseen creature that, unlike any other kind of Holli-shroom that loves traveling in packs, these guys are hyperactive and enjoy running around, playing what looks like hide and seek. The spore's side effect can cause better, more active mood, and the urge to write letters for some reason.
Now, with Easter ready to join my steady growing Holli-Shrooms army, let's move on to Halloween, a way more mysterious holiday. On a side note, speaking of mysterious, if the Sculpey Ultralight looks a little bit too dirty, then I do apologize, but I have a good reason to why. This is my new assistant, and she's still in training, so I hope you can live with a little bit of dirty clay. However, in the last HR meeting she did apologize and promised to be a good girl. And with that statement, let's move back to the sculptures where I'm trying to make a Holli-shroom look scary. I am even giving it this wooden texture in hope of making it more eerie looking. And I do think I sort of succeed. I hope so, because if you hear Richard Barlow's description of them, then these guys are different from the other Holli-shrooms.
The Halloween shroom. These does not sing as much as they laugh maniacally, traveling in gangs of up to 10 members. They are known to be very mischievous and have something of a sweet tooth. Their spore side effect can cause one to be unnerved, even scared, high on sugar, and the urge to read Edgar Allan Poe.
I did give it a pumpkin-like mouth and a very angry set of eyebrows simply to fit this description, and I actually think I managed. But with that, it is time to move on to my favorite season, Christmas. For the Christmas room, I do make him just like I made anyone else of the Holli-shrooms. To a quick recap, if you missed it the 4 other times, I make a butt, I make some thighs, then I make feet, and then we are on to the face. The only difference with this one is I do make him look a little more chunky and hopefully also a little more jolly. For me, Christmas has always been this magical season, and I have really not outgrown it, even though I can get a little bit tired of Mariah Carey, but now we know why that song is stuck in my head. And before I get too Christmas mushy on you guys, let's hear a little bit about the Christmas room.
The Christmas room. A kinder and more giving Holli-shroom is hard to find. These small fellas set out their spores even more if it snows, and are known to be more widespread than other Holli-shrooms. They chant Christmas songs like no one else, and their spores has a side effect that can cause overeating, economic ruin, and possibly cold toes.
So after I shaved out the mushroom cap, it is time to give it some decoration, and please just ignore the trim around it. I don't know what I was thinking with that trim, but the top, now that was a good idea. So I placed that using some baking bond, and after that all I had to do was scribble it all around to give it this snowy texture. It took a long time, but it was definitely worth it. But apparently I was enough of a masochist that I decided to make more scrapey things with Super Sculpey, placing all these small doodads around, making them look like falling snow. And it doesn't look good now, I have to admit it, but with some paint and some effects, I'm sure we're going to make it look great. Even though right now it sort of looked like pimples. But with him all pimpled up, it was actually finally time to paint. Now, I do realize, if you have followed me, then you know it's very weird to hear me saying finally time to paint, because I usually hate painting. But the truth of the matter is that I just didn't think they looked that good. I was not happy with them. I had hope for them, and thankfully it paid off, but for a long while I just wasn't satisfied with them. But as soon as I put these soft pastel colors on, then they sort of came to life, in my opinion. And it only got better and better the more details I got to put down. So let's start with the Valentine's room. Here I went for soft pink before I painted the cap a very hot pink, I think it's called, almost to the red side in the middle, simply blending it, making it look more warm and hot like, I think. I am using a dry brush, just pushing all the wet colors around. I think it's called wet blending, but shouldn't it be dry blending since I'm using a dry brush? I don't know. With the cap fairly blended, all we needed was some details and then we could move on to the St. Patrick's room. And while we do that, why don't we hear a little bit more from the mystery journal?
The Holli-shroom can, like the weakling, bury deep into the ground to hide themselves. And with them being as small as they are, it is almost impossible to find them. They do not seem to have any natural enemies, though for some reason or another, all type of Holli-shrooms does seem to scare away the mood eater and other unseen creatures of the moody category, even if only just for a little while. How long they sprout and spread spores depends on the Holli-shroom. Some can last over a month, while others only last a day or two. Thankfully, one thing is certain, and that is no matter the lifespan, the Holli-shroom will always come back next year.
Well, there's sort of a comfort in that statement, don't you think? Well, at least I do. But with that is on to Easter, where I have put some bright yellow in the dark places to give it sort of a shade effect, before I start playing around with some masking tape. I wanted this striped pattern, and normally I would just go by the rainbow or sort of pick one color and then graduate it, but I think my inner child artist came into play when I saw that egg, because I just went willy-nilly with it, dipper-dabbering colors that I just liked. This might have been the most difficult Holli-shroom to make, but it was also one of the more fun ones. And I think it did turn out sort of decent with help from the masking tape. When it comes to color schemes, the book isn't much help, but I figured that Easter is in the spring, so we need some light and fluffy colors. So that is why I chose the colors that I did, I think. But with that, we are moving on to Halloween. And compared to Easter, Halloween is really easy because I had already put down the groundwork, so to speak, with all the texture that I had given it. So I tried to do it with some classical Halloween colors, just a little bit more light, with the orange, and the yellow was a little bit darker than I would usually do. But that's because I shaded it a little bit brighter later on. But while I'm painting the Halloween and we are moving on to the Christmas, why don't we hear the last word from Mr. Barlow about this Holli-shroom?
If the Holli-shrooms are deeply annoying or a vital aspect of human happiness is a very debatable question. I suspect that the answer will differ as much as the Holli-shrooms themselves. But for me and my family, the answer is clear. We need the Holli-shrooms more than we ever would give them credit for. With life being as uncertain as it is, I think we should grab any chance of joy life may bring us, including small singing mushrooms. Merry Christmas.
Truer words couldn't have been said, in my opinion. But let's get back to the Holli-shrooms, where they are finally done with the painting. And now all I need is to clean the eyes up a little bit before I put some fake snow on the fake snow, because I'm not satisfied with it, of course, me being perfectionist. So I dipper some glue on before I drizzle some fake snow on, and I just love the effect. It really does look like snow, to me at least. But with that, guys, I think that is it for these sculptures and it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the Holli-Shrooms. I really do adore these small fellas, I have to say. But please tell me in the comments, which one do you like the most? Also, like and subscribe will also help this channel, so please consider it. But for me, in the favor of the Holli-Shrooms, I have to say I'm a big fan of the Christmas one. I just think it came out super cute and was just what I wanted. Now, for Mr. Clayfect, I'm pretty sure that he prefers the St. Patrick's room, and we're not going to talk anymore about that. I love these guys, and I love the different personality. I just think they are a great addition to this unseen creature mystery journal universe that I have stumbled upon. But as always, guys, unfortunately it is time for me to sign off for now. I hope to see you next time, but if you can wait until next time, why not click on the square to the right, where you're going to see a vindictive little bed badger get made. But until then, bye!